I would say fear is a good one to describe mental illness, or to describe people experiencing mental illness, something that they might feel, something I feel.
I'm trying to think of a word. I don't recognize myself when I'm in it, so like unrecognizable.
The one word for me to describe it right now would probably have to be how I feel more or less about it, and it'd be scared, I'd have to say.
Every day. I wake up and it's there every day.
So where better to find out what young adults think about mental illness and the stigma surrounding mental illness than our own college campus. VCU is the most diverse school in the Commonwealth of Virginia and is one of the most diverse in the country. The student body is comprised of more than 30,000 students from over 100 countries. They represent many different cultures and beliefs and come from all different financial and educational backgrounds.
I don't think there's a true definition to mental health because there's so much that goes into it, and there's so many definitions for so many disorders and like the different problems that it comes with disorders, so I think it's very widespread.
Mental health conditions that affect your mood, your behavior, and thought process.
Somebody that has a known issue, but it can't be seen, and it's very hard for people to pinpoint what it is.
I don't really know a specific definition for mental illness, but it involves like all sorts of types of diseases like depression and schizophrenia and bipolar disorder.
Set of mental conditions that affect your thinking, behavior, and like what overall.
I think I will define it as like a disorder for behavior or something psychological.
I guess I'd boil it down to an imbalance, an abnormality, I guess. Yeah.
I would define mental illness as anything that affects someone's emotional or mental health.
A biochemical mishap in the brain, like something doesn't add up.
I guess a lack of ability to function in society because of something going on inside your head.
You and I, you can't really define one or give it an actual look.
Like a normal person. I think they look like everybody else.
Mental illness to me looks like someone that you see every day. It's not someone who you can specifically point out all the time. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's just someone, that's suffering with something internally that you can't.
Like everybody else, I guess.
They could be quiet and reserved, or they could say really off-the-wall stuff.
Doesn't necessarily look like anyone different than someone who doesn't have mental illness.
I don't think there's any one thing in particular that you could say a person with mental illness looks like.
A person with a mental illness looks like a regular person. There's no, it could be me, it could be you, it could be the person on the street, all happy-go-lucky, but inside they're probably dealing with anxiety or depression or something like that. It's nothing that you can really tell. It's like, oh, this person has mental illness.
There are people with anxiety who might be sitting right next to you and they look just like you do. So I don't really think that someone with mental illness looks a certain way. And I think that's something that people need to keep in mind.
I think that roughly half of young adults, I'm probably making that totally up, but I think about half of the young adults in the around that I know suffer with a mental illness. It could be more because it's, like I said, an unseen illness, or it's not a disease, it's an illness, an issue.
I want to say around 20% because I think this is the most stressful time to be that age right now, and I think maybe a lot of the times it goes undiagnosed.
I believe it's like 15 to 20% or so, but I would not be shocked if it's much higher. So I don't know. A lot more than I probably think. That's my answer.
I would probably say at least 40%.
30 maybe? 30%?
Probably 30% of college-age people suffer from some sort of mental illness.
Maybe 25%.
Probably around like 20%. I think there's a lot of people that think they have mental illness and they don't. I think that there's a lot of people that have it very seriously and don't take it that seriously.
Given the fact that's the group with the highest suicide rate, I'd say 20 to 25%.
I'm gonna say 40%.
Families will help them, take them to a doctor who can get them diagnosed, and if they don't have families, hopefully there's some sort of like shelter or different like clinic that they can go to.
Go to a professional, maybe seek a counselor, or I don't know, go to a specialist, whatever specialist that they have. But definitely seek help from a loved one or a friend first.
I would imagine that you would go to your primary care doctor and they would refer you to a mental health specialist.
Depends on the case. So depending on how bad it is, you can go into treatment facilities, but sometimes you just need someone to talk to, get you through it.
I'd say my friends or family first, and then if I need other measures, I'd probably go somewhere to get extra help medically. Well, first I'd probably turn to my friends and family, and then I'm assuming they would probably make me go to like a doctor, and then I would explain to them, you know, what I'm feeling in my situation.
You know, make them more aware of, you can't just educate someone, you have to bring them in, show them that they can behave just like you and I, but in the condition that affects it.
Really kind of knowing, trying to get to know people and to understand where they're coming from, understand like what they're dealing with.
I think spreading awareness as much as you can.
Being more considerate and actually thinking about what we say before we say it, or what I say before we say it.
I can be the support system for that person, because I feel like it's so easy to give up on them and just say, you need help, but we need to step in and be that help.
We need to educate people on what mental health is and how it can affect people's lives.
I just feel like people need to get more educated, and they need to know, like, just because someone has, say, like schizophrenia doesn't mean that they look just like everybody else. They're not always doing the typical symptoms that people think of. There's other things that they should be educated about so they can be more like aware. And
Kind of knowing, trying to get to know people and to understand where they're coming from, understand like what they're dealing with, and not just blowing it by, like being really deeply concerned about what they're going through and dealing with.
We wanted to make it easy for people to talk about mental health. We believe communication is the key to ending the stigmas of mental illness. But how can we get people to communicate their feelings in a fun and personal way and involve the entire student body? We created a campaign called Sitck It To Stigma. It's simple. We will use Post-it notes to let people convey how they are feeling about others or themselves. We will distribute blank post-it notes along with information on mental health stigma. Students can place their messages all over campus: bathrooms, classrooms, locker rooms, and even the hallways. Hopefully this campaign will spark conversation, inform people about resources, but most of all, make people smile. Please visit stickittostigma.org to find out how you can involve your campus or workplace in the battle against mental health stigma.